Hey guys, this is Aaron from Metro-East Libertarians. I'm here with Michael Badnarik. He gave a great talk tonight. I'm just going to ask him a few questions here. Michael, Lysander Spooner said a long time ago that the Constitution has either authorized the government that we have now, or it failed to prevent it. And of course, in Lysander Spooner's day, you know, not quite as bad off as we are today. What would you say to him if he were alive today?
I wish he had gotten the word out a little bit more. I've read his works. I'm surprised it took me so long to discover Lysander Spooner, but his logic is impeccable, and it's true. Either the Constitution is incapable of protecting us from the government, or it was never intended to. And in either case, it really has, no excuse for being here. People need to understand that liberty comes from the heart. I mean, liberty is not in the Declaration, it's not in the Constitution, and we need to treat each other with respect. I have distilled the Constitution down to 7 words. Don't hurt me, don't take my stuff. As long as you can follow those 2 simple rules, don't hurt me, don't take my stuff, then you and I can be friends. If you try to hurt me or you try to take my stuff, I'll shoot and kill you. End of story.
Right.
So we don't need the piece of paper. The piece of paper doesn't do anything except outline a list of ideas. But we have to be honorable enough to uphold those ideas. Americans don't have the integrity that we need to really live in a free country. So we can point at Washington, D.C., we can complain about all the things that they are doing, but the real source of liberty is we the people. And when most people don't know how many articles are in the Constitution, I mean, it really doesn't matter what the Constitution says.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So another question that I have for you is, tell me a little bit more about your new book that you've got that's available right now. What's in the book that's maybe different from the previous book that you have, and why should people send you some silver to get that information?
Well, the first book is Good to Be King, and it's all about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and it explains how government should work. I keep getting phone calls and emails asking me, well, how do I travel without a driver's license? How do I not fill out my 1040 form? And most people seem, excuse us,
Yeah, we're filming, man, sorry.
Yeah. Most people seem to think that there's a form that they can fill out that will make the government go away and leave you alone.
Sure.
There's no form, there's no letter, there's no paperwork that's going to make you a free person. Being free is a mental attitude. And instead of trying to change Washington, D.C., my second book is called Secret to Sovereignty, and it teaches you how to change yourself. How do you need to change in order to be a free person? How can you live as a free person right now, regardless of what the government is doing? Now, it's easy to write the answers down. It's a lot harder to actually follow up.
Absolutely.
You know, I can say, well, if you want to really be, healthy, you need to, eat all healthy food. You need to go and work out, 4 or 5 hours a day. It's easy to say.
Absolutely.
How many people are willing to do that?
Very few, I'd say.
Early in the year, membership in all the health clubs go up because everybody's got this New Year's resolution that they're going to get themselves healthy. By the end of February, everybody's given up. They've stopped going to, the health clubs. It's not knowing what to do that's difficult. It's actually following through and doing it. So when I say, well, one of the things you got to do is, convert all of your paper money into gold and silver. People say, well, gosh, I don't want to do that because, well, then I can't use my credit card. My debit card's no. Well, okay, that's exactly right. But if you want to be free, you have to disconnect yourself from the Federal Reserve System. And if you continue using, the Federal Reserve bank card, well, then you're still part of a system. You're not free.
That's right. You're legitimizing the very thing that you're trying to get away from.
Right. And so what people want is they want the best of both worlds. They want all the government handouts, and they want the government to not take advantage of them. It's never going to happen. You got it one way or the other.
Very good. So I know we talked a little bit about, or during your talk, you said a few things that may have maybe foreshadowed maybe a lack of hope about the way things are going. What do you see about people trying to affect change peacefully, perhaps in the way that Ben noted tonight, as far as forming local groups, getting involved with their local governments to try to stem the tide, so to speak, of the tyranny that's taking place there? It's one of the things that I've talked about in a previous video. What do you think about that, about people associating in that way and attempting to affect change locally in smaller numbers?
Well, I'm fairly confident that we are going to change the way business is done in the United States. We're going to change politics. There are two ways that we can do it. We can do it peacefully. In order to do it peacefully, we have to have a large number of people. We can't have people sitting on the sidelines. We have to have everybody get involved. Okay? If people won't get involved, the smaller and smaller the group, the more likely it's going to be that it's going to require violence.
Right.
You know, one person can't stop the crowd unless they're using a gun. And so it's not up to me. It's up to the people. If the people step forward and participate, then there's a possibility of doing it peacefully. 20 years ago, if you told me that we were going to have a Patriot Act, I'd have laughed at you.
Right.
I'd have told you you were crazy. The American people would never tolerate the Patriot Act. But they did. I never would have believed that we would tolerate the Military Commissions Act, which basically eliminates, habeas corpus. But we did. We've got all of these different things. We've got the Homegrown Terrorist Act,
right,
which makes anybody who runs around the country saying that most of what the government does is unconstitutional a homegrown terrorist.
I think I know somebody that fits that description.
I'm a homegrown terrorist because I disagree with most of what the government says.
Absolutely.
So I'm supposed to just, turn myself in? There's no way. I am going to continue fighting for liberty. If I'm the last guy alive, I will probably die in a hail of gunfire. Okay? But when I die, liberty is no longer my problem.
That's right.
So I have no control over how many people are going to get involved. However, given my experience over the last 30 years, Americans are lazy. They don't want to get involved. They really don't care. They say that they want to take my class, but they don't want to pay for it. They say that they want, freedom, but they don't want to change their lifestyle at all.
Right, right.
And so, I've been with, the liberty movement for so long, and all I see is apathy. The people who are complaining the loudest are the people who are doing the least about it. So if the trend continues, these people are going to continue to not do anything about it, and we're going to have violence.
Right, right.
I mean, I hate to say that, but it's because people are lazy and apathetic.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I got to say, Michael, being in here with you and listening to your talk and listening to what you just said now, it really makes people think. And I think if people watching this video and also myself standing here, I'm sitting here thinking, what have I done? You know what I mean? You want to answer that question like, I wasn't actually apathetic, but was I? So I think it's very convicting for somebody like you, especially, to be going around talking to people, and I appreciate that. The fact that you're doing that, I wanted to thank you on behalf of the Liberty Movement for what you've done to this point and hopefully what you will inspire others to do.
I was invited to speak at a libertarian convention, and they told me when they invited me that they wanted it to be a motivational speech. So when I started my speech, I defined motivational, looked it up in the dictionary. Motivational is something that causes sustained action.
Okay.
I said, so when I'm done with my speech tonight, if you stand up and applaud, my speech was inspirational. But if I come back 6 months from now and you guys haven't done anything, my speech was not motivational. I haven't generated any sustained action. I'm not giving the speech so that I can hear you applaud for me. I'm not in this for, to make myself feel good. I'm in this to make a difference. I can't make a difference by myself. And if my speeches don't motivate people, don't drag them off the sofa, have them turn off the TV and get involved and actually do something, then I may be really passionate, but I'm not motivational at all.
That's right. Well, it's not up to you, right? I mean, it's up to your audience.
I'm doing the best I can, but it's up to the people of the United States to decide whether they really care. Most of what our government does is unconstitutional. I find that unconscionable and totally unacceptable. And I've been working at this for 30 years.
Absolutely.
If we don't have a lot more support than we've got right now, the bad guys are going to win. But don't go looking for me at the FEMA concentration camp. Don't go walking up and down the fence to see if you can spot me. Don't go asking anybody if they've seen me, because I didn't make it.
Yeah.
I did not live long enough.
Collateral damage.
That's right.